Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, not only to probably the best movie we have looked at in this marathon so far, but what might just be one of the best Batman movies ever made. Yeah, no hyperbole. One of the best Batman movies ever made. This movie is a freaking masterpiece in every single way, shape, and form. I don't really know how to properly introduce it to you, so I'll just let my Batman attire speak for itself. Yes, this was the review this was being saved for. What's up, how's it going, buddy? Welcome back to the Animation Station. I was your fan of animation, including TVs and movies as well. I'm your host, Jackson Small. Welcome to my review of Batman Gotham by Gaslight. I love this movie. I was already a huge fan of the comic, which, fun fact, was the first ever Elseworld story that DC ever did. But the movie still surprised me. By not only being another great Batman movie, but one of the greatest Batman movies I think I have ever seen. Yes, animated, live action, whatever. One of the best I've ever seen. And I have a very long, lengthy written review for this one because this deserves the highest of quality review that I can possibly muster. So, I got all decked out. I typed for literally hours. And I think I'm about ready to tell you all about the amazing greatness of this movie. So, without further ado or delay, here is my written review for Gotham by Gaslight, as I do my best to try to explain to you, without spoilers, why this is one of the best Batman movies ever made. My goodness, this movie is just full of surprises. This is not only a phenomenal adaptation of the comic, not only the best movie of this second volume of DC Lie yet, not only one of the best DC animated movies I've seen, but I'd go so far as to say it's among DC's greatest films overall, and one of the greatest Batman movies ever made. It is a freaking masterpiece. Set in a very different Victorian-era Gotham City, Batman begins his war on crime by trying to solve the mystery of one of the most sadistic and menacing serial killers in history, Jack the Ripper. With the bodies continuing to pile up and his friends being targeted, it's up to Batman to stop him. But little does he know that a terrifying reality may be waiting in the shadows. Voice acting is amazing in this one. Returning from previous DC animated films are John DiMaggio, now as Chief Harvey Bullock, Grady Lee Griffith, now as Sister Leslie, Yuri Lowenthal, now as Harvey Dent, Tara Strong, now as Marlene Mahoney, and returning from Batman Under the Red Hood, Bruce Greenwood as Batman. And his performance here is just as great as it was there. Then there's Kari Wooer, hope I'm pronouncing that right, Maria Hill from the Disney XD Marvelverse as both Barbara Gordon and Pamela Isley in two of her final roles, William Salyers Rigby from Regular Show as Hugo Strange, Scott Patterson, Luke Danes from Gilmore Girls, or as you better know him as, Agent Strom from the Saw franchise as James Gordon, Lincoln Melcher, Avion from Elena Avalar as Dickie, the legendary Bob Jones, Man Ray from SpongeBob SquarePants as Mayor Tolliver, Anthony Head, Giles from Buffy the Vampire Slayer as the voice of Alfred, Chris Cox, Hawkeye from the Disney XD Marvelverse, yep, you get two of them in this movie, as Father Callahan, David Forsyth, however you pronounce that, Lieutenant Riley from Prototype 2 as Cyrus Gold, and Jennifer Carpenter. Yes, Dexter Morgan's sister Deborah as Selina Kyle. Highlights for me are Carpenter, who is an amazing Selina Kyle, Greenwood being great as ever as Batman, and surprisingly enough, Patterson as Gordon, who shocked me with how outstanding his performance was, especially in the last third of the movie. Next is the world building, which is some of the best of DC's entire filmography, animated or otherwise. Since this is another Elseworlds tale, the crew had to introduce us to another very different world separate from the main timeline, while simultaneously immersing the viewer in this newly established world, which is not an easy thing to do. However, they managed to pull it off flawlessly with this Victorian-era Londonized version of Gotham City, which had me fully immersed in the entire way through the movie, and endlessly fascinated by all the new alterations to the original main timeline that were made here. But the biggest star of the film for me is definitely its atmosphere, which is relentlessly dark, horrific, and ominous, which makes the murder scenes even more chilling, especially with the build-up to each kill, which is very effective, like the best of horror movies should be. And the Ripper himself is an insanely good villain, full of Easter eggs to the real-life killer, and genuinely terrifying every single second he's on screen. And considering that he doesn't talk, that is hard to do. Like, he's not Jason Voorhees, but he's really, really damn good in this movie. Then there's the action, which is very brutal in this one, wearing that R rating like a blood-soaked badge of honor. Yep, this is the third solo rated R Batman movie in a row, as every punch or stab feels really impactful, especially all of Batman's battles with the Ripper, which are some of the best choreographed and effective fights ever put on screen in an animated feature. And, in my opinion, probably the biggest highlight of an already amazing movie. And then there's the kills that the Ripper commits, which are extremely violent and insanely bloody, even showing some very shocking gore towards the end, which really sells just how monstrous he is, which in turn exponentially does a great job raising the tension. Like, the kills in this movie, they are graphic, they are brutal, they are violent, and it wears that R rating like a badge of honor. Now, this could all easily fall apart if the writing and actual mystery were phoned in or lazy, or if it was too predictable like Mask of the Phantasm. But thankfully, this doesn't fall into that scenario. The writing from the comic's original author, Mike Mignola, all the way throughout the movie is excellent, razor-sharp, and very unapologetically adult. And the mystery itself is one of the best in the entire Batman franchise, with not one but two very unexpected twists that had my jaw on the floor. And I won't dare ruin it for you here. There's also great animation that perfectly recaptures the comic's art style, awesome new designs for the characters, including one of my new all-time favorite Batsuits. Like, I love this Victorian Batsuit. I freaking love it so much. Superb pacing that doesn't rush anything, fantastic runtime of only 74 minutes that doesn't overstay its welcome, and insanely high rewatchability. In conclusion, I absolutely adored Gotham by Gaslight and implore all of you to see it now. I literally have nothing else to say. It is one of the best Batman movies that I have ever seen. I know that may or may not be a bit controversial because most of the ratings I've seen for this movie are a 7, but in my opinion, this is that special kind of Batman movie that manages to reach the heights of, dare I say, even Batman 89. Yes, this movie really is that good. So, in my personal opinion, I think Batman Gotham by Gaslight deserves a final verdict of a very well-deserved, very high, possibly highest of this entire marathon so far, 11 out of 10. Yes, an 11. It reaches that high bar and breaks the scale. One of the best Batman movies ever made, one of DC's best movies in general. I cannot recommend it highly enough. If for whatever reason you have not seen this movie yet, especially if you are a Batman fanatic, this is simply required viewing. Plain and simple. Yes, I can't guarantee you may or may not adore it as much as I do, but I still think that this is one of those movies that you must see as a Batman fan. Well, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time for Suicide Squad Hell to Pay.
We cannot take it anymore. The time has come to go. So prepare, fight, we're ready for